Hello, it's 6 o'clock GMT. You're listening to the Star Breakfast News. Coming up this morning, Minority expresses fear Saglemi housing project will end up in the hands of NPP cronies following government's decision to hand over the project to private investors.
Only worry is that just like they want to sell these snakes properties to themselves. This is exactly what that's my fear, that it may end up in the same way. They will just organize some cronies so that they can take it.
Also coming up, Ashanti region tops list as region with the most multidimensionally poor persons in the country.
Though there is 18% of the population in Ashanti region that is multidimensionally poor, in terms of the numbers, the actual number of people who are poor, Ashanti region has more multidimensionally poor people compared to Savannah, which is the highest.
And later, peace researcher warns continuous exclusion of some minority northern communities from national development leaves Ghana open to terrorism recruitment. Details of these stories are coming up shortly, but first let's remind you of our affiliate stations across the country.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 1035 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. Star News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Many thanks to you for choosing Star News. I am Nurein. Abass. We begin this morning. The minority in parliament is raising red flags over proposed private sector participation in the completion and operationalization of the Saglemi housing project. The project, which was started under the Mahama administration, has been abandoned to rot. Government, however, says it has received 10 bids from private investors to take on the project. Kojo Nkrumah is Minister for Works and Housing.
Three major components that were missing: water, electricity, and sewage works. When the Ghana Institute of Surveyors did the assessment, they said we needed about $100 million to complete this 1,506. And government took a decision that within the difficult financial constraints, it's very difficult to find that extra $100 million after $200 million has been spent. So Cabinet took a decision that we should select a private developer or a consortium of private developers and let them make the investment in it so that we can operationalize it. And you are correct. A couple of months ago, we issued a request for proposals. To date, I am briefed that about 10 companies, international and local, have expressed interest, have picked up forms, have been taken to the project site. They have had the opportunity to inspect work that has been left there so far, the necessary dilapidation reports, and they are putting together their proposals. According to the work plan that we put together, by the 8th or on the 8th of July, we expect to formally receive all of the bids. We'll do it openly in front of all of you.
So that was the Minister for Works and Housing, Kojo Nkrumah. But this, the minority says, smacks of state capture, fearing the project will end up in the hands of government appointees and cronies of the ruling NPP. Here's Ranking Member on the Works and Housing Committee of Parliament, Vincent Opong Asamoah.
I'm hearing it for the first time. Honorable Nkrumah, you can understand this to complete the project. If you want to talk about the historic project, 7 years, this government has been in power for about 7 years. And just 6 months to the election, this is the time that they are rushing to look for private company to complete this project. I've always had issues with this project, this private engagement, this very project, because I thought government have what it takes to complete them. But this is a government project, and this is a decision that MPP government would like to take. All that we need to do is to ensure that right things are done. So my only worry is that just like they want to sell these snakes properties to themselves, this is exactly what that's my fear, that it may end up in the same way. They will just organize some cronies so that they can take it. But at the end of everything, I think we are also there as an opposition to ensure that the right things are done.
You heard the ranking member on the Works and Housing Committee of Parliament, Vincent Opong Asamoah. Still in Parliament, the MP for Bongo, Edward Bao, is predicting doom for the energy sector in the coming months if government does not address the fundamental challenges of the sector. It follows Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempre's assertion of no load shedding in the past week, despite outages reported in some areas. Edward Bawa tells Star News the minister has lost touch with reality, hence should not be taken seriously. He adds that the situation is likely to worsen in the coming months if the status quo remains.
Look, there's a general problem of the sector, which is the issue of liquidity, the issue of money. Look, any time we have some respite, it's just because government has run around to get some small money and give it to the sector. We will come back to the same problem. The problem has not been solved. The insolvency of the sector, the fact that utilities are not able to meet their operational costs, those problems still exist. It's a symptom that they have dealt with, and the symptom is the fact that for now we seem not to be getting in a very large scale as we were getting in March, the lights going off. That being said, it is going to come back again, and if you want, mark my word, that in the next month or two, we will come back to this and you will call me and we'll have this conversation.
You heard the Member of Parliament for Bongo, Edward Bawa. This is still the Star Breakfast News. In more news this morning, the Ghana Statistical Service in its multidimensional poverty report has revealed that Savannah region has the highest proportion of its household population who are multidimensionally poor, recording 49.5%, which is about 2 times higher than the national average of 24.3%. Despite this, the Ashanti region has the highest number of multidimensionally poor people, pegged at 959,031. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina Enim has the details.
But in the context of the actual numbers of persons who are poor, you see that regions that are very populous, like Ashanti region, though there is 18% of the population in Ashanti region that is multidimensionally poor, in terms of the numbers, the actual number of people who are poor, Ashanti region has more multidimensionally poor people compared to Savannah, which is the highest, which is leading in terms of the proportion of the population that is multidimensionally poor. And so this report comes at a time where we believe that it will inform policy directions, it will inform government and the local government in particular on the programs they're implementing, and especially when they have to allocate resources.
And that was that was government statistician Professor Kobina Enim. Away from that, a peace researcher with the University of Cape Coast is warning that stereotyping and the exclusion of minority tribes, particularly of Fulani extraction, could be breeding grounds for terror recruitments here in Ghana. Aside from regular arrests for crimes, Fulani herdsmen whose cattle have destroyed crops of farming communities have often resulted in clashes. Dr. Kadir Bukhari indicates that instead of attempting to contain such excesses, urgent steps are needed to include them in Ghana's development efforts. Ultimate FM's Ivan Heathcote Fumado explores this further in the following report.
Ghana finds itself nestled between neighboring countries that have all recorded terrorist attacks, with some reports indicating that Ghana is fast becoming a haven for terror groups trading seized goods, looking for a place to recuperate and receive medical care, with other groups using Ghanaian corridors to escape anti-terrorism operations. Security watchers warn that the country cannot yet go to sleep. A further veritable threat expressed by a fellow with the University of Cape Coast Department for Peace Studies, Dr. Kadre Bukari Nuaga, is internal terror recruitments, targeting disgruntled minority groups, cardinal of which is persons of Fulani extraction.
We are lucky in a way not to be affected by distance, but it doesn't mean that we are far away from them. The idea of homegrown terrorists, people being recruited to join groups itself, should be something that we should be worried about. Now, in the case of Ghana, I always use the situation of how some minority groups are being treated. Especially, I will mention the issue of the Fulbe, the Fulani, the treatment that is meted out to them. A number of them feel aggrieved, and most of them do not feel part of our society. How do we bring them to a part of our society such that nobody elsewhere comes to take them and then use them as a bait to attack us?
Fresh on Ghana's memory is a viral video recorded in July 2023 by a Ghanaian-born Fulani, Ali Judani, who joined JENEM, a West African jihadi insurgent group affiliated to Al-Qaeda. Ali Judani, who called for a retaliatory attack on Ghana, accusing the country of hounding Fulanis, later died after detonating a bomb in Mali, killing civilians and some soldiers.
Already there are evidence of some of them who have been recruited. We can talk about the story of Abu Judani, a Fulbe who was born and raised up in Karaga.
Dr. Kadri Nuaga commends Ghana for initiatives like the See Something, Say Something campaign, the 2 military battalions, and the forward operating military bases deployed close to the borders of Ghana.
And that was a report by Ultimate FM's Ivan Heathcote Fumado. Will bring you the extended version in subsequent bulletins. But that's it for the breakfast news this morning. When you log on to starfm.com.gh, you'll find more news update there. I am Nurein Abass. Many thanks for your company. Next are the sports team, then Speak Right, and then the Morning Star. Do have a great day.